Hi everyone, happy Tuesday wherever you are in the world. So it's Andrea speaking. So I'm so excited because today I have an amazing topic for you guys. This is something I have been waiting now for a long time. So I have got a very special guest for you today. And before I invite him in, just would like to say a few words about him so that like all of you can get familiar. So today's guest is called Zamir. So about Zamir, he is Canadian born, but now he just currently like moved from Texas to Florida. He is a bodybuilder, he is an actor, he is also a model, and he just recently got engaged to basically to a woman of his dream, and they are just having this beautiful relationship. So ever since I'm following them, this is the kind of relationship that I also would like to have for myself. And I just saw that because to me he is the definition of a true alpha, of a natural leader. So I just thought that he is the perfect person for you guys to talk about today of this topic. So basically how to become an alpha man, how to be a natural leader, and how to transition basically from a beta to an alpha. So without further ado, I think I saw that Samir has arrived, and I know that he is currently busy at the moment. So I'm just gonna invite him in. Samir, if you can see my request coming. Hello. Hey, Samir, can you see me? Hello.
How you doing?
Yes. Thank you so much for coming live with me. I don't know, somehow I see you like how to say this one. So
By
anyway.
the way, just 1 second. Let's see if I can change that.
Yes, I think now it's perfect. Yes. Thank you so much for coming live with me, because I know that like you are a busy person, you are building your empire, you just currently moved from Texas to Florida, so I know that you have got a lot going on. So I think just let's jump right in and just tell me like how much time you have. So there's absolutely no rush. So the first question would be, Samir, that tell us please a little bit about yourself, your current work, your current life at the moment. How are things with you?
Sure. Yeah. So, God, there's so much to that question. I don't even know how to answer it. I mean, I've usually always got a lot going on. First and foremost, I'm an actor. I started that about 8 years ago. I took classes 10 years ago, and then I actually became more active about 8 to 6 years ago, when I first moved to Canada. Do a little bit of modeling as well. And then on top of that, competitive bodybuilder. And as you know, I just started a business where I help men with red pill coaching, a little bit of dating advice, and just how to be better, how to be a better version or the best version of yourself, really.
Wow, impressive. I can see that, yeah, like you are a multifaceted and multi-talented person. Amazing. So in the introduction, I don't know if you heard that, like basically I said that to me, like the little time that I get to know you, to me, you are the definition of a natural leader, like a true alpha. But we had this discussion before that you were like candidly told me that like basically you were not like born to become an alpha. So basically, you were not born to be a natural leader. You started at the other side of the spectrum. So basically, you first started as a beta and then transitioned yourself to an alpha. So could you please tell us, like, how was this transition period for you, and what were the challenges you were facing along the way?
Yeah, so gosh, this probably started very early on. I would say like probably in grade school, like middle school, even like a little bit in high school. I was just picked on a lot, bullied. I didn't really have a good sense of self. I felt like, I mean, everyone at that age is still trying to find themselves, but I just kind of let it go. I didn't really stand my ground with a lot of people. I mean, I even like just the way that like my environment was, I would always find myself like the butt of the joke, and I kind of just accepted it. I didn't do anything to fight back. Um, even when it came to girls, like I have no problem admitting like I was definitely a simp. Like I didn't really know how to approach the subject or how to talk to women, and so I mean it wasn't even women. We're in school at the time, so we're all kids, but like I didn't even know how to talk to girls. So for me, it was more about like just having a conversation with them. I never knew how to start it. I would always like be the one who's too excited to see them and just all the things that you could name that I was doing wrong. I was pretty much doing everything wrong. That transition probably happened, gosh, I can't give you like an exact time. Um, if I'm being honest with you, if I'm being really honest with you, I would probably say that happened about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
I was talking to somebody and it became very serious very quickly. And I guess for her it wasn't that serious, so I just it kind of like broke my heart without saying the least. We never actually ended up getting in a relationship, and I've had very successful relationships. I say this all the time. I had one really bad relationship when I was 20, and I learned my lesson after that. It was toxic, it was horrible. After that, I raised my standard. I had a lot of really good relationships, but it was just about 2 years ago, I had a really like just horrible experience, probably like the most heartbreaking experience I've ever discovered. There's no cheating. Again, we were never dating each other. There was nothing like that. Um, I just discovered I was way too invested. And at that time, the other person, she wasn't invested at all. Um,
So
so
what do
yeah,
you
so something like this is when that happened. That's when I discovered the red pill. And that's when I started to like do my own research and actually like watch some videos about this stuff. And I feel like even in today's day and age, words like red pill and alpha are so overused that I kind of had to give it my own definition. And I will say this, after that, probably for the next 6 months, I got more attention, not just from women, but I got more attention from men and women than I did for the first 26 years of my life.
So basically, you felt that like things started to change for you in the last like 2 years because basically, I have also seen the physical transformation you have undergone. I think one of the recent like videos that you shared, like how basically you look when you were in your teens or in your 20s, and I have seen that like basically like how you physically also transform yourself the way how you are looking at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, like, when it comes to bodybuilding, that's just something I've always been interested in. I mean, I started working out when I was like 13. I had a pair of dumbbells at home and I had no idea what I was doing. Not long after that, I got a gym membership, but like actually changing the way that I looked, that didn't happen until about, yeah, probably the age of like 20. That's when I was like, I had just gotten out of a motorcycle accident. I probably weighed about 115 pounds. And for me, it was never about, like, I know a lot of guys around that age, they get into working out because they want attention from women. It was never it for me. For me, I just wanted to look good for myself. I wanted to feel good every time I looked in the mirror. And I feel like when people try to define the word alpha, I feel like anything that you do as an alpha, you do strictly for yourself. And you stick to those guidelines for yourself. You don't change them, you don't compromise them for anyone. I mean, if you look at the leader of a pack, whether it's a herd of lions or a pack of wolves, the alpha has his own guidelines, and you don't see him, get on his knees or let anyone walk ahead of him. Those are his rules, and he sticks by those. He'll live and die by those. So I think that's probably a better way for people to look at the definition rather than trying to see all the jumbled up nonsense that you find on the internet nowadays.
Yes, that's very well said because, like, I remember we had this conversation earlier in the DM that, according to you, the term alpha is like nowadays very much overused, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure you basically checked out, but recently I had a other conversation with a fellow coach of mine. So we were talking about high value people, like high value men and women. And like one of the key things that he mentioned is to live by integrity. So basically, I would say that the definition of an alpha is equal to the definition of a high value person. So someone who lives by his own standard, his or her own standard, and lives by integrity. So I think we kind of agree that it's the same. Amazing, amazing. So, with that being said, so you were saying that according to you, the term alpha is nowadays overused. Like, do you mean like on social media or just in general? Like, everybody is claiming, I mean, most men are claiming themselves to be an alpha, or how is that?
Yeah, honestly, I would say in general. I mean, definitely on social media. You see it a lot on social media, but now almost every clothing company you see in the fitness industry has the word alpha in there.
Mhm.
And it's like people think if I put this shirt on or if I put this tank top on, it's gonna make me alpha. And then you see people put it in their Instagram handle. You see people just the way they think of themselves now. It's like, oh, I'm an alpha. Well, you're probably not. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know if I consider myself an alpha. I mean, I am in a very caring, loving relationship, but there's sometimes that like have to make a compromise. And I'm totally fine with doing that because I love and respect my partner. I think I probably know three alphas, three in my entire life, and none of them have social media. So
Mhm.
that probably gives you an idea of what a real alpha is. I mean, I just think that people they find a word and they run with it for like 10 years, right? And like another, and 5, 6 years from now, there's going to be another word that's going to come around, and everyone's going to be so like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. Sorry, my dog keeps hitting the tripod. Time and sit down. But anyways, yeah, no, I don't know. I really do think it's like the way that society has kind of shaped us is like they put this word out there and everyone wants to be this. Everyone wants to be this. And so we use it. We put it in our handle online, we put it in our definition, the way we try and define ourselves. The fact of the matter is very few people are alpha. And I know a lot of good people, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of hard workers. I know a lot of rich people, but a lot of them aren't alpha. That's just the fact.
Yeah, agreed. I would say that nowadays it's kind of like a marketing strategy because, as you said, that so basically, like in a fitness industry, it just goes hand in hand, right? So basically, to develop yourself into this like high value man or like someone who is like maxed out on his look and like the definition of an alpha, it would I would say like yeah, it's a good marketing strategy as you were saying
Yeah.
that. Yes, 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 agreed. I have actually, now that you mention, I have seen it like so many on labels and everything. So, because I know that you have got a limited time, so I was just gonna jump
Sure.
to the next question. So,
Yeah.
saying before, like to me, you just had this beautiful, beautiful relationship with a woman of your dream, and this is a kind of relationship. Sorry, that I also sorry, I'm losing my voice. So also would like to have for myself. So I know that at the beginning you guys were like having sorry. So you guys were like having a couple of like difficulties. So basically, what were the difficulties that you guys overcome to be at the position you are right now?
I honestly I wouldn't say we were having difficulties. I don't think that's really it at all. I think just the kind of people that we are. You take two people, you take someone like me, and you take someone like Tish, and we, in our own sense, like we were alphas for sure, 100%. Like we weren't looking to jump in a relationship with anyone, and when you put two people like that together, like there can be a lot of I don't know. It's like I don't even know what the word is. But you just kind of like find it uh, find it hard to almost like communicate because you're so used to doing something one way, and then the other person's so used to doing something their way. But at the end of the day, like, and this is what I love. I've had no problem walking away from any woman
Mhm.
ever, right? The thing with Tish is I can't walk away from her. because I love her, and that's like true love. That's not like how I love, my friends or cousins or something like it's like literally the love of my life. And I know I don't want to spend the rest of my life without her, and she feels the same way about me. So it's just, like learning to communicate more than anything else. And I think it's just because we had different communication styles. But I mean, that's a whole other topic. If you want to talk about relationships, I can tell you how important it is knowing each other's love languages. I think that's so huge. And once we learn each other's love languages, there's no problem after that. Like it's really that simple. When you have two people that deeply, truly love each other, you'll go to incredible lengths, for each other. And when you learn how to communicate, that's the most beautiful thing. Because I honestly think humans in general, we suck at communicating. I don't know what happened in our evolutionary chart where we just one day just stopped communicating. But I mean, it's just I see it all the time. It happens with my friends. It happens with I mean I see it happen between people all the time, right? And it can be like work related, relationship related, and it just puts like a big halt in things. But I think a lot of these people, they're too ego focused
Mm-hmm.
and not more so focused on the bigger picture and the objective, which when you can be like Andrew Tate always talks about being stoic, you know. I mean, I think it's so important to take your emotional sense out of what's actually going on because then you can see things clearly. It makes such a difference. So when you're able to do that, I mean, it just everything works smoothly. But I mean, to answer your question, yeah, honestly, we weren't really having any problems for us. It was just a little bit like communication, like didn't really know how to communicate with each other, but we figured that out, and yeah, it's been amazing since then.
Yeah, because I would say that for a relationship to be like work on a long term, so basically, as you said that, so you just have to learn how to put your ego on the side, basically, instead of operating from ego. Like you guys have to operate basically from a place of like understanding and love, because like I would say that this is one of the hardest things to be human, like basically to learn how to listen to another person, right? Like not just to basically not just to try to form the other person into our like the way how we want them to behave, but basically like just to truly accept this person the way how they are. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that learning experience for everyone. Amazing. Is there anything else you would like to? Because I know that you just have this like limited amount of time. Is there anything you would like to like share with my?
Um, Not that I can think of. Is there any other questions that you had? I thought there was did we miss a question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, one of my other questions, I was just not sure if we have got time to answer that. Like, basically, which advice would you say to any men who are feeling that right now they are more like on the beta side of the spectrum and they would like to transition themselves into a natural leader? So, like, let's leave now this term like alpha. So, how you think that? How you think that any man can transition themselves into a natural leader?
Into a natural leader. Okay. Before I answer that question, am I sideways on your screen?
Yes, actually from the beginning, but I will.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I was like saying, but I saw that it's just like you are not able to fix the camera or something.
Oh,
Yes, but don't worry about it. It's like everybody
all
able
right.
here.
Um, to answer your question, you know what? I don't think it's so much being a natural leader because I've noticed whenever someone tries to do that, and I know that from personal experience too, if you try to be a natural leader, it doesn't always work out because until you know how to lead yourself, you can't really lead anyone else, right? I mean,
Mhm.
unless you have an idea of exactly who you want to be and how you're going to be that person, you can't really lead anyone else because the fact of the matter is everyone's lost. The majority of people are lost. You see people, you see this all the time. People changing jobs, people changing majors in college. I mean, this kind of stuff happens, and it's because people don't really know what they want in life. They jump from relationship to relationship. They have a pet, that pet dies, and then immediately they get another one. And it makes you think if there was actually any personal value, if there was actually sentimental value behind that. Maybe they're trying to identify themselves with being a dog person or a cat person. or they need that as an emotional crutch. So I think one of the most important things is kind of like how you're talking about being an alpha is you need to set rules and guidelines for yourself in your life. What makes you exactly who you are? I feel like that's probably the best place to start. Know who you are, first of all, and what makes you exactly who you are. Simple compromises. And I'll give you a perfect example. It can be very small things. For me, I will not go to bed until I brush my teeth. I will not. Now, like it's like it doesn't matter if I fall asleep and I wake up at 6 a.m. I'm gonna wake up, brush my teeth, and then I'll probably go to bed. But it's
Mm-hmm.
little things like that. When you do that and you implement that into your life, then they become big things, right? So, like with my acting career, there's certain roles I'm just not gonna do. And
Mm-hmm.
I've made that clear to my agents. I've made that clear to any casting director I've ever come across that's asked me to audition for something like that. It doesn't matter how much it pays. And some of these jobs pay a lot, but I won't compromise who I am.
You mean
And
like
you,
something,
sorry?
like a nude scene or something when you have to?
Um, yeah, like something like that. Just something like for me, it's like anything that doesn't make sense. Like I've never like agreed to doing like full nudity. Like to me, that just doesn't make sense. As a man, like who wants to see that in a film? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. Things like that. Playing certain kind of roles that I just like I don't agree with at all because I think they're just like immorally corrupt. And like it's really easy to look at a brown man and be like, oh well, maybe he should be like a taxi driver or
Mm-hmm.
a terrorist. And there's the things that I just like I won't entertain. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I understand.
So certain things like that, like just having that like mindset that you've made up, like I'm not going to do these things. And when you have that, like when you, if you want to talk about being a true alpha, when you're so set in your ways, you never have to use the word alpha. That's the other thing. I feel like so many people toss that word around. People should know by your ethos. They should know by the way that you walk, the way that you breathe, the way that you talk. Like, I would not fuck with this person. You know, it's like I feel like that's such an easy way to put it. I actually have a story I'll share with you.
Yes,
This is
please.
one of my favorite stories. So when I first moved to Canada, um, I'm from Canada originally, but I didn't really know what it was like over there because we moved to Texas at a very young age. When I first moved to Canada, it was probably the first week I was there. Um, I was at a gym, and you know, there's this concept that Canadians are so nice. Everyone is so nice over there. So I went in, and I remember just hearing like this huge commotion, and I could hear it over my music. So I took my headphones out. And I turned around. There's these two guys. They're facing each other, and it looks like they're gonna fight. And there's one guy who like he takes his shirt off and he's like yelling and he's throwing his hands up and like good looking kid. He was in good shape. You know, he looked like he took care of himself. But he was making such a commotion and like making such like so much drama. Like he was just really like being way out of pocket. It was almost like comedic to watch. And then the guy next to him was standing there with his hands behind his back, and he was composed completely the whole time. And I'll never forget this. I never got the guy's name. I've seen him a couple times, and we said what's up to each other, but I never got the guy's name. And I'll tell you why. I've been in a lot of fights. Growing up, I've been in a lot of fist fights. So you can probably tell by looking at my face. I've never backed down from a fight. You know, if I felt like I had to fight for something that I believed in, if I felt like I had to stand up for myself, I had no problem doing that. I would not have fucked with that guy. For him to stand there completely composed, put his hands behind his back, waiting to get hit first, that to me, that's like the true definition of an alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not making a promotion out of anything. No matter how bad that fucking person hits you, you're gonna take it and then you're gonna hit him back. And I feel like that's just like the most like simple, barbaric way to put it. Because back when we were cavemen, we didn't have this. We didn't have like, you know, social media. We didn't have ways to communicate with each other. Um, shit, we probably didn't even have the English language. So when it comes down to it, I feel like because the word alpha is so overused, it's not so much trying to define alpha, it's trying to define yourself and who you are as a person. And any man that does that, there's certain things you need. So you need to know your purpose. Why are you here? Right? We all have a purpose. That's not just for men, that's for women too. But I always say this, I said it to most, I can't remember where I got this quote from, but I remember my dad told it to me and he had gotten it from somewhere else. There are 2 days that are the most important in a man's life. The day that he was born and the day that he realizes why he was born.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
I feel like,
yeah, it's a beautiful quote and well said, yes. Because until this moment, you're kind of just like daydreaming, right? Yeah, like you're walking through life in a kind of like haze. That's beautifully said. Yes. And I
yeah, yeah,
that when you said that, so basically, when you are like basically a natural leader or like we call it alpha, you don't have to like claim your stuff. You don't have to like call yourself alpha because like other people, they just naturally gonna gravitate towards you, right? Like the kind of like confidence and the kind of like, because one of the qualities I would say to an alpha is that he's like confident. So the people with like
absolutely.
naturally like both men and women, they are like naturally gravitating towards him. So as you said that there's no point of calling yourself, is basically your action is like speaking louder than your words. Yes, and you're
Yeah, yeah. I told one of my friends that we were gonna do this interview, and I didn't want to mention it because of the way he said it, but like one of the things he said, because we were at the gym together one time, and he said, "Man, you're so alpha." And I was like, "Why do you say that?" And he's like, look around you. You see all these guys, and they're working out with their girlfriends. Why are they working out with their girlfriends? You think they want to? No, it's because they feel like some other guy is gonna threaten them and go up to them and then talk to their girlfriend." He says, "It's like a jungle in here." So all these guys feel like, "Oh, well, if I'm with her, the whole
Mhm.
time if I'm standing within 5 inches of her, no guy is gonna approach her." But I'm on one side of the gym, and then Tish was all the way on the other side of the gym. And I didn't have to look at her. I didn't have to worry about her. That's because I know if anything ever arises, any kind of situation where a guy approached her, one, she would handle it. If I got out of hand, she would let me know. I was confident in that. You know what I mean? And I feel like, in a way, that could be part of being an alpha. I mean, again, like I said, I don't necessarily define myself that way, but to really reach that, you have to have confidence on all levels in yourself and those around you. Like I know the people in my circle, if push came to shove, they would go to war for me. And likewise, I would do the same for them. But that's why I keep a very small circle. And that's why the people in my circle, I trust them with so much. It's because we built that pact, we built that trust. So when you have that confidence in yourself and you surround yourself with people that have that same confidence, I mean it's something you can like it's really amazing.
Yeah, this is beautiful, and to me, this is the definition of a true brotherhood, right? Like when a guys they are like really supporting each other. And thank you so much for mentioning. I go to the gym all the time by myself, and in the past sometimes I went with my like at that time that person was my partner, but I never thought about this way like they are kind of like yeah wanna like keep an eye on me. I never like considered that. I just thought that we both like the activity, right? And like if it's happening, we go at the same time. But yeah, I
Yeah.
actually never thought about it. Yeah, that's actually an interesting approach. Yes. So before, because I think that we agreed like on half an hour before we're gonna be finishing, I would like to ask the audience. I see that some people just recently joined. That if there's any question to Samir or to me, is there any guys? Is there any question you would like to ask from each one of us? Just give them a little bit time. Mhm. Are there any questions? Mhm. Yes, no problem. So, if there are no questions, please tell us, like, if anyone would like to, like, further, how people can reach out to you if they would like to ask further question, or if they would like to take your service in the future, how you can be find.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want, just follow me up right here on Instagram. I do offer I offer red pill coaching, dating coaching. If you guys are interested in that, just shoot me a DM. I do look at all my DMs. I don't respond to all of them because I get a lot of silly ones, but I do look at all of them. So if there's anything you guys want to ask, particularly as to what Andre was mentioning, or if you have something else. I mean, I help with people. I help people with all kinds of things. So I mean, I can give you an example. One of my clients, his partner recently cheated on him, and he's trying to find a way to not only build trust in people again, but build trust in himself because he
Mhm.
trusted the person for such a long time. Um, I mean, it's very unfortunate that things like that do happen, but at the end of the day, you have to realize your worth because when you become vulnerable with somebody and you allow them to hurt you, you almost feel like you deserve it, and you kind of bring yourself down in times that you really shouldn't. So it has a lot to do with like building value, realizing value, things like that make such a difference. Um, it's just it's really difficult, I think, for men because we don't really get to talk about our mental health a lot. I mean, we're just supposed to be tough all the time. We're supposed to be like the badass, and we're supposed to like do everything and provide for everyone. And it's definitely not easy. I mean, we do have feelings, that's for sure. I can confirm, 'cause I'm a man, and it's just like it becomes one of those things where when you realize what you're capable of, when you're in sync, in tune with your emotions, your intentions, then you can become very powerful, very powerful. And I help women with this too. You don't have to be a man to reach out. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just looking to step your game up in the dating world, or you're looking to be a better version of yourself, that's what I help people with.
Yeah, so someone is like commenting that I actually really like this quote that men don't realize that when you put your woman before your purpose, it develops you. Yes, exactly. So we are all the time talking about it. So
Yeah,
your vision.
absolutely. Yeah, I think, honestly, and this I tell this to my partner all the time. I say, whatever your purpose is, I should never come between you and that. And if I do, you should dump me.
Yes.
And likewise, if I ever had a relationship, when I had when I was 20 years old and had that really bad relationship, I mean, that person came between me and my goals all the time, and it was a bad relationship because I allowed it to continue. As a man, you just got to put your foot down. If that person doesn't agree with you, then just leave them. At the end of the day, your goals are more important. Your goals were there before that person came in your life, and they'll be there after. The right person will be there to support you. And I think it was Richard Cooper that said this. He said, "Women shouldn't be the focus of your life; they should be a complement to it."
Yeah, women should be a compliment to it. Yes, yes, yes. I also know that I agree. And like, just quickly saying that recently I'm reading The Force Agreement by this Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't know if you heard about it. And he's
Yeah, yeah,
so beautifully like this is one quote that actually like I like outlined and like remember that I think he was saying that no one can abuse you more to the level that you are abusing yourself, so you only allow other people to abuse you the same way you are abusing yourself. So if someone is abusing you a little bit more, then you're gonna walk away. But if someone is abusing you a little bit less than you are abusing yourself, you're gonna just tolerate and allow it to happen. And like I can look back and you know that like I was like I'm just honestly gonna say this to the audience that sometimes I was asking advices from you because recently I was like involved in a kind of like this toxic like not healthy relationship or kind of like this. And yeah, so you told me like right away that this person is toxic or the person is having a toxic behavior. And it took me like a lot of like self-reflection to see that like why am I inviting still like, unsafe people into my life, or like what was there inside of me that is like still inviting. And yeah, I needed to like dig deeper. I needed to basically like see that yes, so there is still some kind of trauma around when my parents they get divorced, and my father was like the love was there, but it was like inconsistent from his part. Like
yeah,
not when I was a teenager, he was in and out of my life. And basically that was the reason that I love still like certain men in my life who also had this like inconsistent behavior. So thank you so much, because you actually were helping me a lot around this time. And yeah, so basically I just needed to set new boundaries, new healthy boundaries for myself, a new standard. And as a result of that, like I become a better person, and I become a stronger person as well.
Yeah, absolutely, not a problem. I mean, like I said, when you build value in yourself and you realize what you're worth, no one can really define that for you. And if people don't deliver on that, then there's no reason to keep them in your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, agreed, agreed. Beautifully said. So, Samir, thank you so much for your time. Is there any book recommendations? Is there any book that you are like currently reading on this like traditional masculinity? Yeah, is
You
there?
know, I haven't read any books on masculinity, but I'll
Mhm.
tell you that there's one book. It's called Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. I'm sure everyone knows Tony Robbins. He's a motivational speaker. I I would say like that, and there's one other book, and I'll message it to you. You can put it in the caption once, but there's one other book that I have at my place in Texas, and that one's probably, yeah, those two are probably like my top two that I
Nice,
would recommend.
nice. I'm actually reading a book, and that's what I wanted to also like recommend to you, because I think you would like it. It's called The Alpha God by
Okay.
I. Uh, I think I don't know who is the author. Let me think about it. But basically, it's like basically talking about the evolutionary standpoint, like how much similarities we have between like the dominant apes, and basically like it's talking about like God is designed to the face of a like a strong alpha leader, like basically
Yeah.
like projected God into this. Like, yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. And recently I've been paraphrasing and quoting a lot from this book. So I think I'm just gonna send it to you. It's called The Alpha God. Yes, I think
Okay.
it, yes, you're gonna enjoy that. Yes, and do you know when is the wedding gonna happen? Is there any date for the wedding?
We have picked a wedding, but I promise not to tell anyone yet, so
Yes.
I can't say anything.
It's still early. Yes. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. So I'm just gonna include all your like how people can find you on social media and like all of this. And we are looking forward to hearing like more news from you, and basically like more content. So yes, thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Samir, and have a nice day. And say hi to Tish from me.
I will. I appreciate that, Andrea. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.